Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about multiple different subjects. We are getting into the most active time of the year, and with that we will be having some longer videos. So this video is divided into two parts: severe thunderstorms and hurricanes. So stay tuned for a lot of information. So if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell. Now let's get right on into it. We are starting off here with the National Weather Service page, and currently we do have some severe weather alerts. We do have some tornado warnings in red. We have severe thunderstorm warnings in this orange-yellow color. And then, of course, we have our severe thunderstorm watches, which is these pink purpley colors here. Now this is from some dry line action, and we are going to be seeing a lot of that all coming out of the drier areas, mostly into Texas, but it could stretch up a little bit higher just depending on the airflow. Right now we're seeing some airflow coming in from the southwest as the warm-up is starting to begin in the east, so we have that dry line threat. Now, let's move into the severe thunderstorms portion of this video and go over those threats. So we are on the Storm Prediction Center page, and we have a slight risk of severe thunderstorms throughout the day today, with an area of 84,378 square miles and a population of 1.2 million people. Now, we also have a larger marginal risk, which covers 226,584 square miles and a population of 8.8 million people. Now, you can see that most of these severe thunderstorms are further off to the west than our usual threats in the Tornado and Dixie Alleys. This is because these thunderstorms will be firing up right along the border, the boundary between warm, moist Gulf air and dry desert air, also known as the dry line. Now, in terms of tornadoes, we have a 2% risk in much of these areas, 179,000 square miles, 3.5 million people in this 2% range. Wind and hail follow very closely to the slight and marginal risk. So if you're in a slight risk, you have a 15% chance of wind and hail. If you are in a marginal risk, you have a 5% chance of wind and hail. Now let's move on over to the European model. So here is the European model, and we're going to start through here, and you can see right in here, this is where the thunderstorms are going to be popping up. They are going to be right along that boundary. The Gulf air kind of moves up into the US through here, and that dry desert air moves into the east from there. So right along that boundary you get some thunderstorms. Now this will be a common occurrence over the next week or so. Here's another little flare up there, and then we get another one over here. This one being a little bit less significant, but it's still another flare up. Then we get another one right in here. This is just until Wednesday, guys. And that moves across and eventually becomes a system. But we could even have, look, like these flashes here. Now that could be more of some cold front action as well. Here's another flash. That's by Sunday the 23rd. And there's a little bit more. So overall, here is the total accumulated precipitation out of all of those. Texas is going to get destroyed by all of this. So much rain in just a little bit over a week. Some areas, especially in northern Texas, southern Oklahoma, 10 inches of rain in the next week. But most of eastern Texas will be seeing at least 3 inches of rainfall, if not more. The Dallas area looking like 7 inches of rain, the Houston area looking like 4 inches of rain. So even though in some spots it could be very good for, you know, the drought situation, especially in western parts of Texas where, you know, an inch of rain could do a lot for the drought situation. Eastern Texas has had its fair share of rainfall, and this amount of rain in such a little time will cause flooding issues. But that is all I have for the severe thunderstorm segment of today's video. Let's move on to the hurricane segment. So we are on the GFS now, and we are going to be looking at the North Atlantic. And once again, we're still seeing a possible tropical storm forming now, not this weekend, but next weekend. Now, that second system that I was talking about yesterday, that Florida system, it showed up on a few model runs, but now it's just very inconsistent. Some model runs it'll be there, some model runs it won't be there, but we're going to be primarily focusing on that first system, which doesn't come along for a little bit, but you can see that there is plenty of moisture in between Florida and I'd say the Dominican Republic, and that moisture is just staying around, and eventually we get a little bit of rotation there. A low pressure starts to try and form, but that fails a little bit there. Just tries to form again. That just doesn't seem to be very strong until the very end, and then it weakens again right before landfall in the Mobile, Alabama area, and that dissipates off pretty quickly. Now, that Florida system would be coming up right around here, this time frame, but it's just not even showing it anymore. So you gotta give and take a little bit when you're so far out. Now let's zoom in on the southeast US for that first system. So we're just gonna go back right around here. So throughout the week, next week, we just have plenty of tropical moisture feeding into the US, and we get a low pressure that forms right off the coast of Florida and starts to make its way north. It really doesn't strengthen until the very last minute, right in between Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida, and eventually it'll make landfall there. Now, this seems like possibly a tropical storm. Let's actually look at that a little bit. So you do see here 34 knots. That's right around tropical storm force, and it's definitely there on one side, so we could definitely see a tropical storm out of this. Depending on the satellite picture, we could see it go subtropical, but it does seem like there is a balance to all of this, so it's not one-sided. It doesn't contain characteristics of an extratropical low pressure, so it does seem more likely to be tropical. So it does actually last a pretty long time, going inland, ends up in Tennessee there before kind of disintegrating, but that could be a pretty decent low pressure system there. And if we go to total accumulated precipitation, you can see that it'll be a pretty decent rainmaker there. Let's get rid of this. So it'll be a pretty decent rainmaker coming out of Florida, bringing at least an inch of rain all the way up into the Memphis area before eventually, yet again, you know, disintegrating and just moving off to the east. So, good inch of rain, possibly even more in some spots from that system. That'll probably be the biggest factor to this storm. I don't think winds or storm surge will be huge factors and anything to be concerned about in a weaker storm system, but they're always there. But that's all I have for today.